The American Space Shuttle uses two tanks of fuel called SRB, or Solid Rocket Booster, which are manufactured by Tyrecol, Utah. The engineers who designed them preferred to make it wider, but they had the limitation of the railway tunnels through which they would be transported, which had their measurements based on the line gauge. Now, the railroad gauge, which is the distance between the two tracks, in the United States is 4 feet and 8.5 inches. Now you may ask, how did we come to this measure? Because it was the gauge of the English railways, and as the American ones were built by the British, this measure was used for compatibility reasons. And why did the English use this measure? Because the English companies that built the wagons were the same companies that built the horse wagons before the railroads, and for that reason used the same tools as the wagons. And how did we come to these measures for carts in the first place? Because the distance between the wheels of the carts should fit on the old roads of Europe, which had this same measure. And why, you may ask again, did they have this measure? Because the roads were opened by the ancient Roman Empire and were based on the ancient Roman chariots. And finally, why were the chariot measurements defined like that? Because they were made to accommodate the rear of two horses. Now, if you think about it, the conclusion is that the most advanced example of world engineering in design and technology is based on the size of the Roman horse's butt. Now, why am I telling you this story, which is, by the way, absolutely true? At university, we all learn that everything in a company is ultimately about bringing value to the shareholder. And that's a wise insight. Still, it's important to understand how we come to add value to the shareholder. Let me make myself clear. Shareholder value is ultimately defined by the share price. The share price is defined by a number of drivers, such as, amongst many others, growth, profit, cash, sustainability, defined by future performance of the company. All of these elements depend on us being able to sell in a lot to the customer. But the customer will buy from us only if he's not stuck with the stock that we sold him last month. Or in other words, if he sells out appropriately through time. This means that it's not enough to sell a lot in the current period. We need to make sure that we are going to sell a lot in the next ones. And this brings us to the relevance of sellout. Now, if you ask a salesman or a trade marketing person how do they add value to the organization, chances are that they will talk about selling a lot into our customers, the sell-in, ensuring our top line, and that is true. But until our customer sells out to the shopper, he is bound not to buy from us anytime soon. And that will kill our growth, our income, our cash, our profit. And through that, we will destroy value to the shareholder. And here lies the relevance of this concept. So you see, an extremely operational insight like managing the sellout impacts in a twisted way in the value brought to the shareholder. And this is why it's critical for us to make sure our executives understand the drivers of sellout, as well as its relevance, engaging them into managing it. They all must understand that it's our role not just to sell into the customer, but also to promote the sell out to the shopper. That's not the customer's responsibility alone. And that's what we do in our sell-in, sell-out simulation. In sell-in, sell-out, delegates have to manage the whole supply chain, from the forecasting, the purchasing, the sell-in, and the sell-out. And they will be accountable for its impact on the share price. And they will have to make operational decisions such as discount, trade investment, credit terms, amongst many others. As they make these decisions, and as we share the outcomes, it will become clear what drove each KPI. And by connecting those operational KPIs to a highly strategic KPI such as share price or price-earnings ratio, they will get a clear understanding of how they can bring value to your organization, or how they can destroy it somehow. A sense of relevance and pride will emerge, and the delegates will then understand that what they do matters, and that they can make a difference, as they will also get a clear understanding of what they should do to make that difference. One's role will no longer be just a small part of an organization. They will grasp the fact that through an intricate sequence of impacts, what they do with the sellout can boost the value of an organization all the way to the top, and that what they choose to do next Monday after the training will have significant consequences, just like a pair of horses' butts. Thank you for watching. See you next time.